Welcome, world. All right, we're gonna end that. All right, welcome, world. Question of today is, what's tomorrow like? I have Vandell here. He runs a beautiful podcast on YouTube called BlackSwanCapitalist. A lot of great content that he puts out there. Vandell, if you want to introduce yourself and what you do.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Darren. It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, I do want to say that my brother and I, mostly I give the credit to him, runs the Black Swan Capitalist YouTube channel. But we both are Black Swan Capitalist brothers. So again, thank you for having me. Happy to be here. So yeah, we can talk about whatever you like to talk about. I'm flexible. Anything goes.
Are you guys twins? That's my first question.
We're not actually. He's younger than I am by
Okay.
2 years. Yeah, I'm older than him. He might look older because he's more serious and he doesn't really
Mhm.
smile that much. But he's the handsome one out of the two of us.
Oh, don't discredit yourself, dude. Don't do that. Now, actually, this was funny. I was headed into work last night, and I seen this billboard, and I was like, "Oh, this is a great question. I want to ask him." And everybody knows that health is wealth. You know, if you could be
Agreed.
as wealthy as you want from the crypto bull run or whatever it may be, but you could also be fat, depressed, and a billionaire. You know,
Agreed. Yep.
so do, are you guys into that? Are you guys into like eating organic, filtering your water, all that good stuff?
Yeah, we do it all. It's just in our nature, especially with the information we have, and you probably do, with
Hmm.
everything being poisoned around us, not just our minds, but the food, the water contamination,
Hmm.
it's just this is all by design. This is deliberate. At the end of the day, this is a whole different topic, but something we could touch on. If they gave the cure for every, you know, disease or issue there was out there, then that's one patient lost, that's money lost. So they rather treat it to have you keep coming back. So we're very conscious about what we put in our body. Again, that's a whole other. Yeah, we're very conscious about what we put in our body. We train every day, do boxing, um, high intensity training, uh, jogging, running. You name it. We're very active. It's just part of our lifestyle, and we eat clean for the most part. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. I do the same thing. Been doing it for probably since I was about 15 or 16 years old. So that's been a fat minute. Um,
that's actually impressive. You started at a young age.
yeah, I
At a young
my
age.
yeah, my dad used to listen to. Well, he still does to this day, but he'd listen to Infowars. So I grew up on
Okay.
that type of stuff.
Yeah,
I don't try to listen to too much of that stuff, anyways, because it just makes me paranoid. So I'd rather look at the paranoia in the crypto market. It fits my situation better on my stress levels. Um,
makes sense.
yeah, because I like
More
the DCA.
tolerable.
I like the DCA a lot. It's fun.
I think that's a good approach.
But yeah, what I was talking about from the get is that I drove by this billboard of McDonald's, and it said, "Spend $2 and get any size French fries." And I started laughing. I'm like, you can go in there, you buy a small fry and get a large fry. Is that what we're doing here? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's total poison. I mean, I'm not telling anybody what to eat. I'm not
Right.
a nutritionist by any means, but a lot of these fast food chains, they're they're getting squeezed with their profit margins. Okay, and the more they get squeezed, the more they start integrating certain chemicals and taking different shortcuts to give the most food they can to you while still maximizing their profits. And that's just deteriorating the quality of the food. So essentially, you're eating plastic, junk, and all kinds of toxins and chemicals. You're just poisoning your mind, your pineal gland, your body. You're really destroying yourself from within, and you don't know until later, because that's when the side effects really kick in. It takes years and sometimes decades for it to really eat your body, eat you alive. In other
Yeah, it's a
words,
slow kill product,
yeah,
100%.
it is.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think their fries are up to like 21 ingredients or something crazy right now.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, A- and
Wow.
it's always been toxic food, but it's just gotten worse over the decades.
Yeah, I don't even know how we can still call it food, to be honest with you.
It's poison.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is. Um, so I want to touch on silver and how suppressed the silver market is. And just one thing that really popped my eye that I seen is like a nuclear warhead, or not just nuclear, but any missile that has a warhead. They use, I think it's like 50 pounds of silver.
Yeah. Yeah, they use a lot of silver for defense
That's so
and
wild.
the
And it's at 30
military.
cents.
Yeah, and silver is extremely suppressed. But it's not just silver; it's other precious metals, specifically silver and gold.
Hmm.
But based on my assessment over the years, and speaking to people in the commodities business and really connecting the dots, it seems that silver is even more suppressed than gold.
Yeah, I can believe that for sure.
Yeah. Um, It's it might sound striking to some people, but that's the facts right there. And the way they do that is through the paper markets of the precious metals.
Yeah.
So
See,
they
I'm
can make
more of a silver guy than I am gold.
yeah, nothing wrong with that. I think they're both extremely undervalued and they both will always have their place no matter how digital we go. Doesn't matter. They're still
Do
going to have
you
their place.
do you hold any Bitcoin?
I do not actually. Yeah.
Me either.
Um
That's funny.
yeah, I based on markets and this is also a very deep topic, but just to summarize it, from a technical standpoint, Bitcoin will appreciate in price this cycle.
Yeah.
And that's because it would be driven by liquidity.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're trading it and you have large capital to actually make a decent margin, a profit margin on the way up by trading it and make some, positive gains, then it would make sense to trade it if you know what you're doing.
Right.
Um, but for long term, it's unknown. There's we can be so confident about what the future holds, but at the end of the day, there's this unknown factor, and that's the uncertainty, and anything can happen. So you never really know 100%. You just know the probability of something happen. And yeah, the probability of Bitcoin increasing in the short term, I'm talking about this bull run cycle that's approaching,
Yeah.
it's pretty high. But typically, once digital or cryptocurrencies, at least at this stage that we're in, once they hit all time highs, this is when they hit the peak of the market cycle
Hmm.
and they come down again. So if you are trading Bitcoin, if you're investing in it, be extremely clever, have a exit and entry strategy.
So yeah. See, that's a. My dad's been in Bitcoin for a long time now, and he mined it, all that good stuff. So he still has the stuff that he mined, and
Really?
he just
Okay.
tells me I'll never sell it. Yeah, he had like 5 miners, like nothing crazy, nothing too
Yeah.
crazy. But he
Yeah.
just would never
Interesting.
sell it. And we hit 70,000, and I'm like, hey, sell. Nope, didn't sell. He could have bought right back at 48. You know,
Yeah.
traded it. Yep.
Yeah.
Or just wait
Um,
until the bear market again.
yeah. There's plenty of opportunity if you're trading it. As for what the future holds, I know there's arguments on both sides. People think some people think it's digital gold.
Yeah.
Some people say it's a long-term store of value, and some people say it's going to zero. So I have my personal opinions. Um, I don't think it's a sustainable long-term store of value. Personally, there's a few different reasons why, but um, it's just I think 10 years, 13 years, it's been around since 2013. Um, I think, excuse me, 2009.
Hmm.
I think that's too short of a time frame to determine whether something is sustainable or not.
Yeah, I agree with
Because
that.
interestingly, in 2009, two things were created: quantitative easing which is printing money out of thin air, spending, issuing debt. And interestingly, Bitcoin was created too. So
Yeah, perfect timing.
Yeah, quantitative easing is the only thing driving markets from collapsing. It's
100%.
it's central bank's tool to
Yeah, they're
keep
pumping
things,
trillions of dollars into the market.
yeah, to keep things going. So, I mean, imagine if there was no quantitative easing and the ability to create artificial liquidity. Um, I mean, it makes you wonder, where would Bitcoin be today if you didn't have all this confidence? And the confidence was driven pretty much by the liquidity, because the liquidity is what kept the price of Bitcoin going up. And the higher the price went over time, the more people felt like, okay, this is the chosen one. This gives me confidence. So it's this ripple effect, and it's kind of like a Bernie Madoff concept. I mean, it's a Ponzi scheme that gets so big, and the bigger it gets, the more fools get involved. Uh, there are people that aren't fools, and they do get involved because they're trading it,
Yeah.
or they believe it has some sort of intrinsic value. But there's a lot of people that are extremely naive, and they're just following the news. They're following the talking heads, the mainstream. And I can tell you something from being in the business world since 2014, that executives, whether it's from BlackRock, Larry Fink, CEOs of big corporations and organizations, when they're working on certain innovations that disrupt different sectors of the world and the economy, I can guarantee you they're under non-disclosure agreements. And a lot of times they're not going to tell you where the real hidden gems are until it's already set and done and full in motion.
Yeah,
And
and
by
those
that time, it's,
NDAs are for a long time.
yes, absolutely. Yes. Non-disclosure agreements, very typical with large organizations and corporations, for various reasons, for many executives. And it's standard, nothing unusual about that. But it just, if people know that, then they can understand that you can't take everything they say on the mainstream media at face value.
Yeah.
You know,
Where I stand on the whole Bitcoin thing is like if you hold it and you want to trade it and you think what you think, that's good. That's your strategy. Mine's I did a little play with Bitcoin, but I took all that Bitcoin I made a play with and put it in Solana at $20 and 10x it. Now I'm still waiting on the bull run, so obviously I haven't taken profit, but I just buy
mhm.
more. You know,
Yeah,
um, and I
good
always
point.
had the joke. It's beta test coin. It's the first. That's why it's number one, and that's why it will be number one for a long time until something flips it. And
Yeah, exactly.
when the flip happens, the narrative's going to change 100%. And I mean, if they just like if the Noki Satoshi Nakamoto wallet opened up, or they released who he is, or say one of the 11 mining pools go down, um, it's going to be a shock to the market, in my opinion, and it's not going to be good. And I bet it'll be right at the probably tip of bull market, and that'll bring in the bear market.
Yeah, that would make sense from a market cycle standpoint. There's four phases in a market cycle.
Mm-hmm.
You have the accumulation phase, also known as the consolidation phase. And then you have the markup phase. This is when the bull run starts. And within the markup phase, there's three segments. There's the early markup, the mid markup, and the late markup. The late markup is the peak, the euphoria part of the bull run. And then after that markup phase, that's the distribution phase. That's when things start to consolidate and slowly come down. And then you have the mark down phase, which is the fourth final stage, when prices start crashing, and then we begin entering a bear market again, back into the accumulation phase.
Yeah,
And
because these companies build in bear markets, so they're ready. That's why
yep,
BlackRock's
exactly.
here, and I don't understand why all the Bitcoin maxis are happy. Like the big boys are in now to manipulate the market even more.
Yeah, 100%. They control the market. It's whales, insiders, venture capitalists.
Right.
They really move the markets. Retail can contribute to slight movements depending on the tokenomics of coin or digital asset, but it's really whales and insiders that move these markets, and they do that through substantial amounts of liquidity and volume. Yeah.
Yep. I did.
And
I
you're
also
right.
did another play. I did a little play with my 401k because the trade. Well, there's a back buy. It's backed by stocks, commodities, bonds, currencies. And I
Yeah.
said, you know what? I'm not. This is my money. I'm gonna take it out. And then I'm also paying myself back in a 9.5% interest rate on top of what I'm already putting into the stupid 401k. So I'm being my own bank. I'm paying back myself.
Smart.
Yeah, and I invested into what? Cryptos. I invested it into, hard assets, precious metals.
Yeah. It's in my opinion, I think precious metals are a true hedge against inflation, and it's like an insurance policy. It's not just wealth preservation. I'm not talking about maximizing return on investment or as an investment, but a wealth preservation tool.
Yeah, it's a
And
hedge against inflation for sure.
yes, yeah, and a hedge against currency debasement.
Yep.
And the perfect example is I had this conversation with somebody recently, and they were trying to make a strong case saying that gold, precious metals don't hold their value and have not. And that's 100% false and inaccurate information because they do.
Did he try
The
and prove it?
Well, they couldn't prove it
Right, exactly.
because it's false. You can't prove something that's false. You can make something up, but
Yeah,
if
it's
you
only
can't
gone
back
up
it
in
up,
value. It's at an
yeah,
all-time high. Like what?
yeah, exactly. And I've been telling people to buy gold since it was $1,300 and a little less. And look where we are today, almost at 3,000. The point is, in 1929, Darren, 10 kilograms of gold would buy you a whole brand new house in 1929.
Wow.
Fast forward to today, 2024, 10 kilograms of gold will buy you two whole houses plus more things. So that just shows you that the same amount of gold in 1929 will buy you even more today when
Yeah.
measured in gold.
Even with the real
Even
estate
with
market. Yeah.
inflation, currency debasement, overvalued prices of all kinds of assets, it still buys you even more today than it did before. Not just the same amount, but more than twice as much. So that shows you right there that gold is wealth preservation and holds its value beyond what people even understand. And that's the simplest, most best visual for people to really understand how it is wealth preservation and holds its value.
Yeah.
Because Mhm.
I looked into doing like the uh, gold stuff where they hold it for you. What are those called?
A gold facility,
Yeah. And I was like,
storage
nah,
facility.
I want mine. I need to be able to touch it, feel it. And this is a
Yeah.
good point that the Bearable Bull said. He's like, you can't bring on all these gold jewelries and flashy chains on an airplane, but if you got your ledger, you can bring that on with you. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So when you travel through customs, if it's
Yeah.
a value amount above 10,000, you have to declare it.
Hmm.
However, though, this is true. Um, and I've seen people do this. That there are people I know, and you've seen celebrities do this. They're walking through customs, traveling with $1 million watches. The same could be said for a gold necklace or a gold chain.
Yeah.
Celebrities wear gold earrings that are more than 30 grand. So you actually can travel with precious metals, but it has to be considered
Mm.
jewelry.
I thought they got rid of that.
No, you can still do that.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, and yes, because people wear jewelry and they travel with it.
Yeah.
For
If you buy
example,
like
my
the,
yeah.
the
Oh, I was gonna say my stepfather travels to Dubai a lot. He has a
uh-huh.
Rolex worth a lot. He doesn't have to declare it's his watch. It's for telling the time, but it's worth a lot.
That's cool.
So, yeah, so you don't have to declare certain jewelry, but if you're moving with notes, uh, fiat currency, gold bars, gold
Right.
coins, silver, like that, yeah, you have to declare it. It's considered money. So
What do you think about? I brought this up in my last podcast. What do you think about the XRP Unleashed coming out in November? That's going to be supposedly on Netflix.
oh well, I think I haven't looked into it too much, to be
Yeah, me
really
neither.
honest with you. Yeah. um, I think it's a positive thing, to spread awareness. But from what it seems, again, I haven't done too much research on it. I know some of the people on there, like Molly, brilliant mind, very smart lady. Um, and I think the awareness aspect of exposing corruption is a positive thing. I think people deserve to know. Um, as for how impactful the documentary will be to making change, I don't think much, to be honest, and that's because the way the hierarchy works is the central banks and the big families actually control the SEC. The SEC is a face, it's a puppet, it's just an enforcer to enforce certain rules to keep the rich rich and to prevent lower income from jumping into the higher income class. So they sell the idea and it's disguised as investor protection, which they might do to some extent, but it's really a disguise for bigger agendas they have. And that's, as I said, they're enforcers for the big banking cartel mafia families. I mean, whether people want to acknowledge it or not, that's the truth. Um, it's a government agency, but it's really a private agency. Okay, it's kind of like the Treasury and the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve people think is a government entity,
No,
right?
no.
That's the U.S. central bank. So yes, they seem like they're a government entity because they work for the U.S. industrial complex or the United States of America. But the truth is, the Federal Reserve is owned by a couple big banks, like Citibank, Bank of America, and a few others. And who
Sorry,
owns it?
I got something set up and it keeps wanting to play while you're trying to talk. My fault.
Sure.
I got something funny set up that I want to do here in a minute, but it keeps being stupid. So let me off click it. Let's do that. Okay. Yeah, you were talking about how the Federal Reserve is a government entity.
Yeah, I'm just comparing it to the SEC. So,
Yeah,
secure. Yeah.
I think Washington D.C. is a corporation. That's why we have a president. Um,
Yeah. hmm
and yeah,
It's
that's a big rabbit hole, but it all leads back to the Vatican.
yes,
Um,
it does absolutely, and this connects to the shadow figures that are really pulling the strings. So you have the shadow government. I know people like to call it the cabal, the elites. Doesn't matter. It's a group of people that are royal bloodline family members, and um, they set up the first intelligent agencies after World War I, and they wanted more power, and they took it to the next level, and now they do private public partnerships, and a lot of the big corporations have been funded by them since the get-go, giving them money to keep going on, lose money and fail until they make it and get to the point where they are making money. But at the end of the day, it's about control and a long-term agenda. Google is a perfect example.
mhm.
There's Palantir. Um, it's very interesting. The rabbit hole goes deep, but at the end of the day, shadow figures that control the monetary system, the central bankers, they are the ones who give the official orders to the selected and elected officials.
Yeah, I believe
Those
it's
are
a
your
selection.
politicians.
That's the
Yeah.
topic of discussion right now for all of us.
Yeah, a lot of it is a hard pill to swallow, but the truth is the truth, and opinions are opinions. And certain things are arguably undeniable. It's just out there, but it may sound, it's taboo to talk about these things with a lot of people because they're very They're very biased, you know, and narratives to win people's trust and push a narrative for a bigger agenda. It's actually taught in behavioral economics and in psychology. And the shadow figures, they're masters at this. They understand people better than people understand themselves.
I like to call that Daddy Zion.
You can say that. So it's a very touchy subject, but you know, the truth is most people don't get it.
No. Here's a good one. Success is like being pregnant. Everyone says congratulations, but nobody knows how many times you've been fucked.
That's a funny and interesting way of saying it, but you make a good point.
It really is. It's a struggle, and we know it. And we know this, especially in the crypto market. You know, when Bitcoin does a 2% pullback, some of these altcoins will go back 30-40%.
Yeah, definitely.
One of their networks will get hacked. We just had that with the Flare network, Nexera. What was the third one? Let me check. There's Flare, Nexera, and maybe it was just those two. Thought there was a third. I did have a question. You've been in this space for a while. When you see like a company like Hedera, you know, change their emblem for H bar, or maybe even change the whole ticker, what have you experienced when something like that happens? You ever paid attention to
that? No, it's really not something I pay attention to be honest with you. Yeah. It could be a shift in branding, you know. True. It could be a new perspective from different board members, new advisors coming on the team. You know, sometimes the agenda can change, you know, but typically a lot of these big companies, they've been planning the agenda and they have certain goals they want to check off the list for. They plan these things for a long time. You know, a lot of decisions are made, you know, behind the desks, in the offices, behind closed doors. And they plan long in advance, you know. So I think just because of a change or a shift like that, it's not something that should concern people. At the end of the day, if you're an investor, long-term investor, and the fundamentals haven't changed, then nothing's changed. As long as the fundamentals are the same, then nothing has changed. You know, they could say it's going to zero. It doesn't matter, you know. I mean, I'm not taking sides here, but people said, oh, last election, Trump was going to crash the markets if he got elected. Interestingly, even experts believe that. And what happened? The markets actually did the complete opposite. They shot up. So nobody really knows. My point is nobody knows what can happen if something changes. So it shouldn't mean anything as long as the fundamentals haven't changed.
Right. Yeah, it seems like this whole year, every other week, there's a new narrative, and with the attention span of people, I mean, they're just already forgotten, like 100%.
Yeah, a lot of distractions, and that's the thing with the media. You know, they're controlled by a couple of conglomerates. So the media,
7 corporations now, or
something like that, 5 or 7, and yeah, the idea with the mainstream media, it's not to inform you, it's to push a narrative for a bigger agenda, to shift a narrative and push a narrative. That's why they exist.
Yeah. Since we're getting into politics here, I want to show you this clip of a comedian I went and seen. A couple buddies and me went to work, went and seen him.
Y'all see the president, well, the nigga that's running, Trump. He got shot, dog. They shot him. This nigga done been shot, saying I went to jail, he done scammed people. And this nigga my uncle, who the fuck? Who the hell, he black, he's officially black now, bro, this is beautiful. They shot him. He was like, yeah, I'm having a fire. He was fine. He was doing like this and walked out with an American flag on him. Like this. He put one of these, like, I'm a real nigga. Fuck, nigga, I'm out of here. That's hard, bro. I wasn't even finna vote. I'm voting now, dog. He got it. He won. I wasn't even finna vote. I had no skin in the game. I like, that nigga got shot. He won. Fuck the bullshit. He had real ops, nigga. What the fuck? Joe Biden biggest op is the stairs. That's it. He had real ops. Somebody really tried to listen. That's how you know he a real nigga, bro. Joe Biden has been trying to kill himself his whole presidency. So nobody had to kill this nigga. Nobody had to try to kill it. Trump been just ready to go his whole time. And like, we gotta fucking off his ass. And missed. And just skipped his ear and missed. That's crazy, bro. Hey, Mexican nigga, you fuck with Trump? Yeah? Hell yeah, that was good. Huh? You say amen? He not God, nigga. What the fuck? That was crazy.
He's wild, dude. I like it.
Yeah, silly. I don't know who that is, but it's yeah, man. There's a lot of humor surrounding what happened.
Yeah, he came on this live. It's a live podcast, like one of the number ones in the world, called Kill Tony. Tony Hinchcliffe and Joe Rogan run it. And he came on there just as a regular guest. And at the end, they interview you. And if nobody's seen this, it's a great platform. It's awesome. They bring on Alex Jones high. Like, it's a good show. But he's like, you know, I'm kind of retarded. He's like, I like rocks. And it just went viral and made that kid famous. And now he's just traveling, doing it up, you know, living his best life.
Yeah, he had the opportunity to make a good impression.
Yeah. So with all that, obviously we talked about the selection. So I definitely believe that there's a big narrative right now, but I do think they're going to give the power to Trump, because what I saw with Trump was that he went on this big, huge world tour, and all these countries, they're ready. And they're literally showing you their hand. And you and Rasan bring this up a lot, that their gold reserves are literally the reevaluation of gold.
Yeah, well, there's many reasons we believe that the gold price will be reevaluated. It happened in the past, in 1933. So it's nothing new. It has happened. They issued an executive order, President Roosevelt, and they confiscated people's gold. They said, bring it back in or you'll get a $10,000 fine. And they were offering people $20 and some change. And a year later, they reevaluated the gold price publicly to, I believe it was $34 and some change. So it has happened, and it most likely will happen again, because they need to restructure the debt. And they will have to, most likely, have some peg from digital assets to precious metals, and gold will be in that category too. So this is a long-term agenda. This is a reset. You know, we're actually living through it right now. We're still in the stages of going through the process. I don't think it's going to be a overnight thing that takes place. I think it's a process. But even on the central bank's balance sheet, they have a section called the gold revaluation. So it's stating that they're really telling you what's coming. And I don't think it's a coincidence that since the 2008 financial crisis and sovereign debt crisis, that all central banks reset interest rates to near zero in 2009. And then ever since then, they've been net buyers accumulating record amounts of gold till today. And recently, Saudi Arabia just purchased a huge, significant amount of physical gold.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and they were caught by the import people.
Yeah, I watched
And
your last video. Wow.
yeah, so yeah, and I don't believe this is stopping. I think there's going to be a gold revaluation and a restructuring of the debt and monetary system. Digital assets are going to play a role. Blockchain technology will be the foundation of the new financial system. I think it's extremely obvious at this point.
Yeah, I don't think any of this is going to change our lives technically for the better, because all of this is the digitalization of everything, because we're kind of going into the Aquarian age here.
Yeah,
And what we're doing is we're trying to buy the protocol, because this is the first opportunity we've ever had to be able to do that, to hedge our bets.
very good point.
Especially against inflation.
Absolutely. I mean, since 2013, crypto and digital assets have been the best performing asset class out there, with the best risk-adjusted reward
Yes.
out there compared to any other asset.
Yeah, but you definitely have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, because I've been in this market before with money that I didn't have to go throw in the fire.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
anybody asks me, oh, well, how much money should I invest? It's like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go build a fire and throw your money in it, and let me know how it makes you feel.
Yeah. A lot of people ask me sometimes when I'm at a cocktail party or I go out and I'm with friends, they'll say, what do you think I should invest in? What should I invest in? How much should I invest? And I like to say that's like going up to a doctor and saying, hey, can you prescribe me some medications, without telling him your condition? What's your
Right.
condition? Do you have a lot of money and you're trying to preserve what you have? Or do you not have enough money? Are you trying to make more? I mean, you can't have both. You got to choose one or the other to lean on
Right.
more. What's your financial situation? Do you have dependents? Do you have family members that rely on you? What's your age? So there's many questions you have to ask yourself and have a deep conversation with yourself before making any investments, especially in the crypto and digital asset space. Even though it's very clear at this point, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. I mean, in 1980, the value of the total stock market was $2.5 trillion. And what's interesting is that's the value of the crypto market cap right now.
Yep.
Yeah, well, today, fast forward today, 2024, the total value of the stock market globally is a little over $15 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
So that just tells you how much upside crypto has in terms of market cap. All the money is going to be on the blockchain. That's coming. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah, it's
And-
already digital. Like you have
exactly.
you have a chip on your card that you're NFC paying to. I mean, all of this is guiding you there.
Yes, it
It's
is
not
guiding
just-
you there.
It's not just it's indoctrination is what it really is.
Yeah, very well said. Yeah, this has been a long-term plan for decades. Okay, people think this is just this new thing that popped out of nowhere, and now mainstream media is pushing it. You got all these VCs, venture capitalists, promoting all kinds of crypto and getting involved with the blockchain and development. And yeah, this has been going on for a long time. And the ultimate goal is to have a 100% digital society where your money is out of your control. No financial sovereignty. That's the goal, ultimately. Because what they could never do that in a cash society when your medium of exchange is in your hands, physical, tangible.
I agree.
I mean, even though this Ponzi scheme system is deteriorating since its inception, it still gives you financial sovereignty and freedom. What we're moving to is taking that away. They might sell you this idea like, oh, it's your investments are going to be managed by BlackRock. Okay, we have ETFs. We're going digital. You can be on the blockchain. It's 100% transparent. Sure, okay, but once you go digital, that's it. It's done. You can't close Pandora's box. Okay, there's no going back, and what comes after that is beyond what people can comprehend. Okay, anything can happen, and people don't even know this, but stable coins are just as programmable and surveillable as a CBDC.
Yeah, I think it will be stable coins. It just because they come out with the thing that you're going to hate, and then they come out with this other thing that you don't even know about, and it sounds a little bit better, and then they just implement it, and you don't even know that you're using it.
Yep, they always make it sound better. Look, they have to make it sound better, because if they don't make it sound enticing and attractive to the masses, people will never go along with it. If they told people their ultimate goals and their long-term plans from now till 2030 and beyond, yeah, the whole system would collapse overnight. People would be rioting, but people, they can't tell people, okay? They have to gradually adapt society to the changes. And this is done in a very gradual, slow, controlled fashion. And it takes time. But ultimately, that's what they want. They want full surveillability and control over your money. And if they control your money, you control the people. It's as simple as that. And Henry Kissinger said that.
Yeah, you're gonna give up your liberties for safety.
Yeah, but if you make a lot of money during this wealth, this transition, this opportunity to create substantial wealth, you'll have more choices and options in the future. Right. That's what money gives you, and the elites, the shadow, figures, they don't want money to have the money. They want money because it gives them, it's a tool for them to get what they want.
It's 100% a tool. It's called the currency.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very clever and true. And that's how people and investors should look at it as well. It's not about having all these notes in a suitcase and all this money in your bank account, but it's about what can that give you in life that you really want. It's choices, options, freedom, and the ability to say no if you don't want to do something or go along with something. You can't do that if you don't have money, okay?
Yeah, and just in the last couple of weeks, I mean, the whole total market cap of crypto got wiped out of the stock market. Where are we at, like 2.9 trillion or something now?
Something like that, yeah.
Wow. That's exactly, I knew it can't go up forever. And then I seen the S&P and all these things at all new time highs. I'm like, I'm not going to let Fidelity go 10x my money sitting in here. Like, I'm going to take my money and, leverage it myself and try and 10x it myself.
Yeah. There are certain asset classes that are in a bubble, and they went from a bull run to a bubble. Crypto and digital assets is not one of them, but there are other asset classes that are in a bubble. Digital assets and crypto is currently in the accumulation phase and early markup phase at the moment.
I wanted to show the people your Twitter because you have a pin up here. And, when we make predictions, we're not trying to be correct. That's how I see it. It's because you don't actually want to be right, but you can just foresee it in the future. And you did say back in 2023 that rate cuts will be coming in 2024, and they happened exactly on the same day that they did in 2008.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of data that I monitor, and I follow the money. And I think if you follow the money, that's number one. Number two is if you know where we are today, then you can have a good sense of where we're going and the probability of an outcome. It's a very deep topic. It's something that a lot of people in this space don't really understand. It's yes, it's something that a professional investor, they have to understand this. One of the most important things is knowing where we are in the cycle. If you understand market cycles, then you can understand their patterns.
Right.
When you know where we are, you'll have a good idea of what's coming next. So that's how I knew that. Plus, there was plenty of data to support that this was the next step coming. Um,
Yeah,
yes.
and you said patterns. This was, and I went and fact checked this for 100% on XRP. I didn't go check silver or gold, but those are those ticker symbols in the middle that people don't know.
Yep.
XUA is gold, or sorry, silver, and XAU is gold. And on July 4th of 2020, those were the four prices of your X's. Because the reason why X is in gold is because it's a currency, like it's a literal currency. And therefore you have the X in XRP. BTC does not have that.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, I never thought about that.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. X marks the spot.
It
X
does.
is 24. We're in the year 2024. Elon just changed Twitter to X. He named the kid X. And why is he naming his son X?
Yeah.
Oh, this brings up a good point. You ever seen
Yeah.
this chick on here called Vogue Trader?
No,
Oh my God, this
I
is
don't think
hilarious.
so.
Let's see here. Yeah, I got you. Let me share my screen. Yeah, this girl tags Elon Musk every single day, and I think we're almost to a year. And she has like these big fake tits. It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, she tags Elon every single day, talking about when are you gonna acknowledge XRP.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Wow.
it's so funny.
Yeah.
People are wild at this space.
He's not allowed to talk about it because he clearly would have talked about it in the past. I mean, he's all for innovation, right? And changing the world. Okay. Sustainability, clean energy, efficiency.
Yeah, I
Well, if
don't
you
know if
want to
you've
talk
gone
about
around
crypto,
Twitter.
sorry?
I don't know if you've like done some just doom scrolling on Twitter, but dude, you see some wild shit on there. It is insane.
There's,
I mean,
yes.
just people just killing themselves in their bathroom, like people getting bloody murdered in the streets. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, like, it's cool, free speech, but I don't think I need to see real people dying in real life. Like, this is insane.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like the
sad.
dark web.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
really is sad.
it is. And it's crazy too. The world is, there's a lot of emotions in the world and instability currently. Um, yeah. I think people need to kind of look within themselves, and try to isolate themselves from all the crap in the world. There's too much misinformation, too much negativity. Um, and, I'm not black pilled. I hate that. I think that's the stupidest phrase I've ever heard.
I'm the clear
But
pill. I like that
yeah,
phrase.
well, the thing is, if you don't know what's going on and you're not aware of the reality and the facts,
Mm-hmm.
then how can you protect yourself? How can you make informed decisions if you don't even want to acknowledge what's really going on or the threat you're facing? See, when you acknowledge those things, people call it black pilled. You're actually at an advantage because you know how to deal with the threat. You know what the threat is. You recognize it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I feel about that. I think people should know what's going on and acknowledge it, and don't be a little baby, accept the truth for what the world is and what you're facing, and you could prepare better like that.
Yeah, this was accidentally playing earlier, and I watched it before we got on, and I cried laughing. So I don't know how much everybody else will appreciate it, but I thought it was funny as hell. I was like, I gotta put this in here.
Fuck was that? That shit broke my fucking eye. Come on before you fuck up the video.
Oh, that shit was deadly.
Video, you gonna blew off my fucking face off. That was the cheese, blew off the pizza.
Oh my god, this stuff you find on Twitter, I swear to
Crazy,
God.
yeah. A lot of stuff, a lot of crazy stuff out there.
I was like, fuck this
Definitely.
video. What'd you do before you started your whole Black Swan capitalist and all that?
I was an executive assistant to a CFO, which is a chief financial officer for energy company. And then I was the executive assistant to the CEO of an oil and gas company based in Houston and Dubai. And prior to that, I was in banking, personal banker, dealing with people's financial affairs at Bank of America. And before that, I was at International Bank of Commerce in banking.
Good for you, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's the journey, the short-term journey.
Yeah. I've been at the same place for about 9 years now. I'm a prepper. That's why I do the crypto, the precious metals, all that, and do the food, the water.
Very good stuff.
That's why I like David. David's super cool. I found his channel, I think, before I found yours, maybe around the same time. But I've been watching you guys for probably a year at least.
Okay.
Yeah. I got in, I think, April of last year. So I'm over like about a year and a half now in the market. So that's been a fun journey. But yeah, the person I listened for my TA is his name's Waters Above. And me and him had a one-on-one phone call, and we was talking, and he asked me where I'm from. I was like, "Oh, I'm near Cincinnati." And he was like, "My boy's from Cincinnati." He started crying, laughing. He was like, "Dude, you need to start a comedy podcast." And I was like, "All right, let's figure it out." Homie said it. That's my dog. I got to do it.
Hey, if that's what you're into, you should do it. Don't wait.
Yeah, and the name just finally one day popped in my head. And I was like, let's get it. We got to do it. And I'm very grateful for like people that have communities that are as big as your guys', you and Versan. You guys
appreciate
are killing it. Yep.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, and the ultimate goal of once we get down the road here would be like, I connect with you. I connect with like Mr. Man XRP, who I just had on. And then we come in just like you, Dave, and Ito do. Like, and we just chop it up, and have fun with it,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm always happy to come on and talk and, chat and share my perspective and hear what others have to say. It's always fun doing that.
Yeah, but what I do at work is I work in hazmat. I'm a dangerous goods spill technician. So like I do the bubble suits and all that. Yeah. So I wanted, because of the prepper thing, I wanted to be able to know how to do that stuff properly without getting hurt,
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I'm able to hedge my bets in this crypto market. So I've been pretty thankful for that,
Yeah. I think it's a good skill to learn all that stuff.
Are you do you like owning or renting, or do you mess with real estate at all?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the market to come back to reality. I think it's overvalued.
Same.
I have my assessment tells me it's in a huge bubble right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care if they lower interest rates or not. The real estate bubble is at the peak of its cycle. Yeah. So it needs to come back down. It's too overvalued. Bubble. Yeah. Specifically real estate. Currently, I'm a renter in Dallas. That's here. Cool. I am looking at
around. I like that.
Yeah, flexible. I'm not tied down to anything. I can travel. But once the markets start, that's the thing. Before I invest in anything, I look at where are we in the cycle? Where is that asset class in the cycle? Is it very overvalued or is it undervalued? And based on that, I'll make my investment decisions. Because that's the thing. You could buy the best stocks or companies in the world, but if you buy at the top, you're basically setting yourself up for substantial loss, because anything that is at the euphoria, the peak, comes back down. That's the thing. The world is cyclical. Everything goes up and down, up and down. So why would you buy at the top? So look at where you are today. And once I identify certain real estate and businesses that are at the bottom of the market cycle, I'll get involved.
Yeah. Since you brought up where we're at in the market cycle, this is a little bit of an older post. Was this from July 16th? So we're still in this channel here,
Yeah.
number 5 right there.
Mm-hmm.
Once that channel breaks, obviously, what does XRP do? It runs, but
Mm-hmm.
that never happens until Bitcoin's into price discovery. We're not there yet. We're getting ready to touch back into the golden pocket, in my opinion.
Yes.
Once we close above 71.5, I think I'll be happy, like a daily or a weekly, and then get our next leg up. Because right now we're just capitulating because the market, it has to chill out. And I have been emphasizing so much to people because, I have friends and I've been talking to them for months and I was like, bro, like you could have had a baby by now. It's been 9 months. Like you could have had a full kid by now and you still haven't even dipped your toe in the pond.
Yeah, a lot of people. That's the thing. You could share the most valuable, life-changing wisdom and information, and you won't be giving away your secrets because the truth is, the majority of people, and I know this for a fact, are never going to act on that information. It's not about what you know; it's about what you do. So, most people won't act; they won't take action. And yes, they're going to say you were lucky or make excuses for themselves for why they didn't take the risk. But at the end of the day, rewards and victory is reserved for those who take risk.
100% true.
Yeah, calculated risk.
Yeah, high risk, high reward. And that's what we're here for.
Exactly.
We're looking to make, because if you was just to put your money into a 5% APY right now, you're not even hedging up against the actual inflation right now, which you guys was talking about earlier is like 11%. Like they're lying about it.
Yeah, it's much higher than that. Since after the 1980s, I think around 1984, they actually changed the metrics that they use to calculate inflation and CPI. By the way, food and energy is not even included in the inflation that they report to people, which is ironic. It's funny because most of your money goes to food and energy. Your rent,
everything's energy,
your gas, your food. That's the most expensive stuff people spend their money on. That's literally why they don't have money, because it goes to the rent, the car, the food, the gas.
Right. Yeah. And
then
it's all energy. Your money's energy. Driving the car is energy. Your caloric intake is energy.
Exactly.
It's all energy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with you. Yeah. People need to take action.
Because also with what he's showing on his CA is you have to get his Patreon. I know I've tried to send it to you, but is that we're in the year of the dragon, and then you can look at what the election cycles are like, and then how the Bitcoin performance month to month looks like, what the market cycles do between a non-electric cycle, like your regular traditional markets, what they do during a non-election cycle compared to an election cycle. So I think being in a dragon year going into this type of election, which is it's happened before, history repeats it rhymes, and I think this bull run is going to be very short, Q4 or Q1, and hopefully we bring in utility, and that's what I'm hoping for. But I think it's going to be a super cycle.
Yeah, I think it will be a super cycle. I just want to say that there's a lot of misconception out there about the market cycles and what drives these cryptos. Utility will come down the road, and as utility grows, it will bring in more liquidity, which drives the markets. So that will come. It's starting, but it's not fully adopted and fully here yet. But that will come in the future. As for who takes the Oval Office, the truth is, who is in office doesn't matter in the long run, because it's central banks and the global M2 money supply that drives the markets. I'll give you an example. Bill Clinton, he served 2 terms. Okay. For each term he served, the market The S&P 500, for example, the main index stock market, rose over 50%. Later down the road, we had Obama, who served. The markets rose a little over 50%. Okay. He served another term. They rose over 50% again. Then you had Trump come in. People said the markets were going to crash. They rose over 50%. My point is, there's a lot of distractions and nonsense, okay? It doesn't matter who gets in office in the long run. Markets are going to do what markets do, and that's because it's driven by money printing and the global M2 money supply. So if Kamala gets in, sure, bad policies, things could have a lot of volatility, things could tank, but at the end of the day, it would be an upward trend because they're going to pump these markets. If Trump gets in, maybe it would be a double pump. It would be more positive expectations. So that could drive the market even more. But regardless, the markets are going to go up before they crash again. That's a given. And that's the market cycles right there. It tells you that it doesn't matter which politician gets in office. They're going to do the markets do what they do.
Yeah, I think there will be a double top in 2025. I think like March is a good timeline, because if you look at like the year of the snake, that's every year that the United States likes to dip its toe in the war. It happened World War I, World War II, on repeat. And I think the market will dip, and then come the end, Q4 of 2025, I think we'll see a nice little run up.
Well, I do want to say, if you want to know exactly when the bull run is starting, it might sound so simple that you wouldn't believe it. But the truth is, you go on the global M2 money supply, and every time the growth skyrockets, that's your bull run. Happens every 4 years. So you can know exactly when the bull run's coming. It's really that simple. And this is what professional investors and hedge funds follow. They do move the markets too, but this is one of the signals that they monitor, and that's how you follow the money. It's called the global M2 money supply. So this is a collection of the biggest central banks' balance sheets, and every time that growth increases, if you look at a chart, compare it to a bull run, every 4 years when that M2 money supply increases, that coincides and happens to be the same time your crypto bull run takes place. So that's a roadmap right there. It's telling you. And just the other day, I noticed the growth started slowly increasing, just slowly. Still early. We haven't even gotten started yet, but it's coming. And they lower interest rates. When they do that, typically they print more money to stimulate the markets and the economy. So that's another indicator. The fact that they're lowering interest rates. So we're going into an easing cycle, which means all central banks are going to start growing their M2 money supply, printing more money, spending more, and lowering interest rates as we do that. That would take us into the bull market cycle. And we're just getting started.
So this is the TA that I was talking about. So that's a great indicator. I have another indicator that's actually totally different. So every bull cycle that Bitcoin's gone through, we go through a fourth solar eclipse, which happens on October 2nd this year, which is also the new Hebrew New Year. And we're in the Dragon Year, which is extra bullish, that Bitcoin, that's when the train leaves the station, essentially.
So it must be that the money, well, if that is accurate.
It's both. It's liquidity. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But maybe they could be moving the money based on the alignment of, or the moon. Who knows?
That's his TA. He shows you
that's
the
a
full
spiritual.
Yeah, he does gematria, astrology, numerology. He does all that, and he compares it to the market, and he actually can do it to the S&P and go back all the way to, World War I.
Interesting.
Like
yeah.
that, following the moon cycles.
Yeah, they actually participate in a lot of rituals, the people that control the money, and they do a lot of things around astrology.
100%.
So that's actually a fact, and most people don't know that.
Yeah, and he that's what his whole waters above thing is that's why I said the currency earlier. That's where I got that from, because the
Gotcha.
moon is controlling the sea, you know, the tides.
Makes sense.
Yep. And
I like it.
it's liquidity because it's liquid. You
Mhm.
follow me?
Yeah.
Like the terminology, because you're speaking like you're spelling when you talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even sing happy birthday anymore. I quit doing that.
Yeah. Well, it's a spelling.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. The English language. Interesting history.
But yeah, like I said, I think Bitcoin's awesome. If you would have got in maybe at the bottom, like $8,000, if you would have got in there, cool. Like your bags are cool. But
Mhm.
did you only buy one? Like what's, what I don't understand what one is gonna do for me. That
Yeah,
brings up a
you're right.
valid point.
That's the thing. It's not going to do anything. I mean, it might, help you out, but it's not going to give you life-changing wealth compared to other assets that are much more suppressed and undervalued.
Right.
Yeah, unless you have a lot of capital and you're buying a lot of Bitcoins.
Yeah, this is a funny one. Let me share my screen here. I sent this to a buddy. And I was looking at it before because I was just doom scrolling through Twitter. And it's people with one Bitcoin at a Bitcoin conference. This guy's all buffed out. It's wild. That's funny. But yeah, man, we're at an hour. You want to keep going or you want to call it, brother?
Yeah, I do have to get off. I have some things I need to take care of. But yeah, brother, this has been a great conversation. It's good to speak to people like yourself that know what's going on. It's good
Yeah,
stuff.
appreciate it.
I like
Everybody
what
was.
you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, I think
Just keep it
like
up.
if you like and subscribe to both of us, we greatly appreciate that. Everybody listening.